Sitting behind me is a 2001 Ford F-250 Super Duty with a 7.3 liter diesel. It's a long bed Lariat two-wheel drive. I've been driving this truck around for a while since I inherited it from some family members, and what I've noticed is that with the tuner chip that I have in it, I'm getting in the mid to high teens miles per gallon, which is really shocking to me for such a huge diesel engine on a very heavy, large, heavy-duty diesel pickup truck. So this led me to have a crazy idea. My Jeep Gladiator, which I've had for a few months, it's a Rubicon model with a 3.6 liter gas engine. I've got 35-inch mud tires on it, and I've got a few modifications, but nothing too crazy. I get around mid to high teens miles per gallon on this Jeep, so pretty bad actually. But that got me thinking, I wonder if this huge heavy-duty diesel truck sitting outside could actually get better miles per gallon on a highway run than this Jeep right here. Keep in mind, this Jeep is a brand new vehicle. It benefits from all the technological improvements on engines and drivetrains over the past 20 years. The Ford is 20 years old, and it's a huge diesel engine with over twice the displacement from this Jeep. So it's kind of a crazy idea, but I honestly think that the Ford might be able to get better miles per gallon than the Jeep here behind me. Hey everyone, my name is Ian and you're watching Big Rock Media. So today we're going to find out. We're going to go on an MPG test loop of about 50 miles that I've designed. I'll map it out on Google Maps just to make sure the mileage is accurate. I'm going to hand calculate the miles per gallon of each vehicle. We're going to do the test on the same day, so it's going to be the same temperature, the same road, the same driving conditions, and the same speed. Now yes, I know this is kind of a crazy comparison because you're not really cross-shopping a new Jeep Gladiator with an old diesel heavy-duty truck. But I think it's really interesting because have modern vehicles really gotten as efficient as the manufacturers like to claim? Why does this Jeep get such bad miles per gallon? And on the other hand, why does the F-250 diesel get such good miles per gallon? So that's what we're going to figure out. There's also a huge difference in weight between these two trucks. My Gladiator weighs probably somewhere around 5,000 pounds, give or take a few hundred pounds for the modifications that I've done. The F-250 sitting outside that I showed you weighs probably somewhere between 6,500 and 7,000 pounds, maybe a little bit more. I'm not really sure, but it's close to that. So it's a much heavier, much larger truck. So that also makes this a really interesting comparison. All right, we're going to go ahead and get this MPG loop started in the Ford 7.3. So let the truck warm up a little bit and then we'll head to the gas station, top off. It's a beautiful day outside, partly cloudy. The computer here is showing 43 degrees, although it feels a little bit warmer than that to me. The truck does have this MPG display, which I don't know how accurate it is, but we'll compare that to the hand calculated miles per gallon. Okay, so now one thing I really did want to mention is that yes, this truck does have a tuner. It's completely stock engine exhaust intake, except that this tuner plugs into the computer ECM and allows me 6 different levels of power here. Now I always pretty much run it in the 75 horsepower setting, which is supposed to, according to the company called TS Performance, that's supposed to give you the best miles per gallon, but I guess we'll find out. So you can see diesel is $3.89 a gallon here in California, which is pretty pricey. Okay, so what I did was I went to the second click. So I got to the first click, and then just like they do on Fastlane Truck, I waited a few seconds and then went to the second click. So we'll go ahead, we'll reset our trip computer. We'll go ahead and reset the miles per gallon display. And what we'll do is, I won't rely on the mileage that it lists here. I'll actually check this on Google Maps to make sure that it's exact. So because of where I live, this test is a little bit different than some of the MPG loops that the other channels do. Because I live on top of a mountain, I'm kind of forced into doing this a certain way. So we're gonna go down the mountain and then come back up. And in terms of the speed, I'm gonna try to stay I'm going to try to keep the speed really consistent between this truck and when I do this in the Jeep. So kind of through these somewhat twisty sections, I'm going to try to maintain usually around 40 miles an hour. And then on the straight sections, I'll go the speed limit, which is 55 on this highway. And so we'll try to keep it very, very consistent between the two trucks. So right now my trip computer is showing 17.5, but we're just getting started. So what's gonna happen on this drive is that because most of the first half of the drive is gonna be down the hill, we're gonna get really, really good mileage. But then coming back up, it's gonna keep dropping and dropping and dropping. And then when we get back to the gas station, we'll see what happens. All right, so we're about 10 miles in, so a little less than halfway down the mountain in the F-250, and my trip computer is saying 30 miles a gallon. But keep in mind, most of this has been downhill so far, so we'll compare this and see how it does compared to the Jeep at this point. But yeah, we've got about halfway to go, and yeah, so far the drive's real smooth. It's a weekday, so there's not much traffic. So it's mostly a highway drive, very little stop and go, maybe a couple stop signs down in Banning. So yeah, it's mostly a highway MPG loop. Okay, so we're 15 miles in. I just kind of wanted to show you guys the view down here towards Banning. It's kind of a cool view. Right now my computer is showing 37.8 miles per gallon. Okay, so in order to get to around the 25 miles or the 50 miles round trip, I decided to include a little bit of freeway in the test. So we'll go a few miles on the freeway and pick a turnaround point and come back, and of course we'll do the same exact test in the Jeep. All right, so I stopped to map out this route to get the exact mileage using my computer, and it's an exactly 50-mile round trip. So had a little jaunt on the freeway, turn around, heading back up, and yeah, it worked out exactly to 50 miles, so that's pretty great. Let's check and see. We're just at the bottom of the hill, just about to start our way back up. Let's check and see what the trip computer... Okay, so the computer right at the bottom here, I'll stop at the same place on the Jeep to see where we start, is 32.6. So we'll go ahead, fire up, and get up the hill, get to the gas station, and calculate our miles per gallon. So let's get going. Okay, we're about halfway up the hill. We've done a lot of climbing already. My trip computer is down to 21.5. So if I had to guess, I think we're gonna come in maybe between 17 and 18 if I have to make a guess right now. And I think the Jeep, I mean, that's gonna be close. It's gonna be a close call. I think the Jeep is gonna get similar, but we'll find out shortly. All right, we're arriving back at the gas station. Surprisingly, the computer is showing 20.1, which is pretty darn good. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go to the first click and then wait about 5 seconds and then go to the second click, just like I did when I filled it up. So we've got 50 miles divided by 2.972 gallons. All right, okay, that's, the computer's way off. So 16.823 miles per gallon. So that's the result from the Ford. Trip computer said 20.1, so that's a pretty big error on the trip computer. So much for that. So that's our number, 16.8. That's what we have to beat in the Jeep. Do we think the Jeep can do it? I don't know. I think they're going to be pretty close, but okay, setting off in the Jeep. Head to the gas station, top this puppy off, do the same exact loop, and then see what we can get here. Starting off, you know, we haven't reset yet, and this is from my old driving, but the Jeep's showing 13.4. That's been mostly around town driving, back and forth from my house down to Idlewild and back and forth to work and stuff like that. Really do love driving this Gladiator. Every time I get in it, it feels like I'm going on an adventure, or just, it's so much fun. It just has so much character. Another thing I wanted to note for the MPG loops that I'm doing is that I'm not running climate control at all. I have the system turned off, so that's not affecting it. So, you know, I'm trying to be as scientific as I can. All right, so we're at our turnaround point, just getting off the freeway. Kind of coming down the mountain and getting here. I think I've been getting real close to the mileage of the Super Duty, so that's kind of surprising how close it is. So I guess a determining factor is going to be what happens going back up the mountain. You know, is this more efficient or the diesel? I mean, do keep in mind that, yeah, I do have 35-inch mud tires on the Jeep. I do have a rooftop tent, although it doesn't really stick up above the cab hardly at all because I've got it on half rack. So that doesn't really affect things too much, maybe a tiny bit. But yeah, the Jeep is not stock. And if this Jeep was stock, I think it could, you know, get 2 or 3 more miles per gallon than it is in this form. All right, so we're 3 miles from the gas station. We're almost back. Still have some more uphill to do. The Jeep's reading 18.2, so I guess this is going to be a close one. If that's accurate, then the Jeep has won. But if that's optimistic, which these computers sometimes are, then it's going to be a close call. To be honest, I'm kind of rooting for the Super Duty in this one just because it's the underdog. I mean, of course it should get less, you know, really, because it's a much larger truck, heavier truck, larger engine. I mean, it's twice the displacement of this. You just don't expect it to get that good of miles per gallon. I mean, the Gladiators and the Wranglers, they just don't get that great of mileage in general, especially once you go putting modifications on them. They're just not good for that. They're good for a lot of other stuff, just not, you know, good fuel efficiency. Okay, we're pulling back into town here. Jeep is showing 17.7. Now remember, the Ford got 16.8 hand calculated, so we'll see what happens, but I think it's going to be a really close one. Okay, 2.75 gallons. Okay, I think the Jeep just won because, where's my phone? 2.75 gallons, 50 divided by 2.75, 18.18. So yeah, sorry, the Jeep won. Sorry, Ford. The trip computer said 17.8. So that's funny. The Jeep reads lower than it actually got. This got 18.2. So that's pretty close though. That's within 0.4 of a mile per gallon. So the Jeep is victorious. You won this round, Jeep, but next time we don't know. Okay, so if we think about this, the Jeep got 18.2 and the Ford got 16.8. So what is that? A difference of about, gosh, not that much. Only, I think that's 1.4 miles a gallon. I guess that's the result you would expect. I mean, you kind of expect the Jeep to get a little bit better, but I don't know. I was rooting for the Ford. I thought it could pull it off. Maybe if we did like a steady highway cruise on the freeway, maybe that's where the weight wouldn't come into play as much as going up and down this mountain. Maybe that would be more of an advantage to the Super Duty. I'm not sure. But in this test, the Jeep pulled it off.